Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To some and peace out to the rest of you. You know who it is, what to press, and why. I need to get straight to this. Listen, I want to give a shout out to everybody that came on the panel earlier today. I want to give a special shout out to Mr. Fantastic because it's something that he brought to my attention. Mental laziness. He nailed it, didn't he? I realized when he said that, a light went off in my head, and I realized so many things that I was struggling to continue to concentrate for the rest of the panel, live stream. We're cool with rumors. We're cool with memes as long as they've got either lions or pyramids or the idol gods of Egypt or a celebrity like Tupac on them. Matter of fact, we're cooler with them if they're not fact-checked. And the more inaccurate they are, the more we love these memes. And we've turned and reduced our education and knowledge to these things. I can't help us. If this is okay, if this is normal, there's nothing that I can do Nothing that I can do. If these things are normal, if there's really nothing wrong with it in our eyes, then I'm sorry, but I'm not going to be able to say or do anything that's going to lift us out of the muck and the mire. Mental laziness is actually a bigger division and a bigger setback for us than the Pookie, because the Pookie, the idness, the stereotype, he's that way largely due to mental laziness. So, in reality, if you remove the mental laziness, then there's no reason for any of us to sit back and just believe that we should be the stereotypes that our enemies have come up with for us, is there? Why would we? Now, if you're mentally lazy, yes, you're going to take that. That's exactly what it should be. They say that you're this, so you better be this. But if you're not mentally lazy, you don't have to fall into that. And you would know it. Why should I be the killer gorilla stealer if the enemy says that I am? They obviously don't like me no matter what. Why would I be the worst that they say I am? That's what happens when you're mentally lazy. You become your worst enemy's best friend because you take yourself out. Now, granted, I do not exonerate the white Western world. White supremacy is real. BGS was right about that. You pull your pants up, you get rid of all mentally lazy people, you get rid of the Pookies and the idness and all of this. They're going to move in against you even harder from the outside because you failed to do it from the inside. I get it. You build a Black Wall Street, they're coming with torches, flamethrowers, even with planes dropping bombs. They'll do it. I understand that. Don't underestimate that. But see, the point is they should have to do this if they're going to be this kind of enemy. We shouldn't be that enemy to ourselves on their behalf. And the mental laziness does for them what their bombs were supposed to do. Holds us back. The promotion of the mental laziness is the only thing as bad as the mental laziness, really. The promotion of it is serious. Acting like you're white because you won't be mentally lazy. And this is why I have said one of the standards or one of the components of the Malcolm X standard for a truly reformed ex-thug is that they get in that dictionary and they learn to spell and punctuate in their first language. Mental laziness is why some of you niggas come in here under the comments and tell me that I'm an elitist on behalf of a European language when I say this. No, if your first language is Fulani, which is an African language, great. Learn to read and write in it. And now there's even an alphabet for it, I believe. If your first language is Temne, learn to read and write and punctuate in it. You probably will be using the Latin alphabet, but learn the proper spellings. If it is Spanish, it's Spanish. Most of you listening to me have English as a first language. Learn to read and write in it with the proper punctuation and the difference between the different spellings and the homophones. Do not use DEER as an adjective for beloved. And do not use DEAR as a noun for the animal that some people like to hunt. Don't do it. If you are offended by this standard, it is because you're mentally lazy, and that's a step away from being stupid because it leads to stupidity. It's a stepping stone to stupidity. Mental laziness has turned many people in this country in which I'm now living and working that started off with the normal intelligence of anyone else into dummies. And I'm going to tell you now, if you think we're bad, you should see the Bedouin. The Bedouin gets away with it because he has a country. When he leaves, he doesn't get away with it anymore. And now the Bedouins have countries, but now they're not even getting away with this stuff inside their own countries anymore because the educated have said enough is enough. It's really not even about who's Bedouin or not. It's just about who carries that attitude towards education. The biggest divide here is between the people that value education and the ones that don't. Dumbass, you look down on education. We don't need you in this country. You definitely shouldn't have a job. You certainly shouldn't have a job with any salary worth having. Give me that damn job. Take your butt home or go in there, grab that mop and take that janitor salary. I don't care if you're from the Gulf like I am. See, the smart people used to have to suffer because the stupid people cheated their way through to careers, became doctors, attorneys, maybe even judges. I doubt it. Eventually, the educated upper class said, wait, no. Nope, get these feather muckers out of here. They don't even show up for work on time and then they leave early. See, these are niggas here that were running the show. But they could get away with it in their country, and eventually the smarter people in their country said, no, you can't get away with it. You damn sure can't get paid. Mental laziness, and it's usually accompanied by physical laziness too. But it becomes a stepping stone for stupidity, because if you're mentally lazy now, but you're not necessarily stupid, you're just mentally lazy. What happens when you have kids and you're just not going to do the work? Well, see, by the time you've had them and then they've gone into kindergarten, first grade, and they need help with their homework, see, after 5 years of being mentally lazy, now you're actually stupid. And it's your fault. You're a dumbass. Because you chose to be and you practice being it. You do anything enough times and long enough, you become an expert at it. Congratulations, you became an expert in stupidity, dumbass. I think y'all got the idea. I've said enough. And thank you, Mr. Fantastic, for bringing that out, bringing that to my attention. This is the biggest division we got. This is bigger than the political divisions. This is what's going to divide us. In reality, if you're mentally lazy, sit your dumb ass at home. And if you know someone that's mentally lazy, do not advocate for us to bring that dumb nigga with us to Zamunda, let alone Wakanda. Because if they ain't stupid yet, they're going to be until they choose to not be mentally lazy. And we can't bring stupid with us to build Zamunda. Stupid didn't build Kemet. Stupid didn't build Zimbabwe. Stupid didn't build Benin. Stupid didn't build Dahomey. Stupid didn't build the Zande army. Stupid didn't build the Zulu Empire. And none of them are standing today. The ruins are, but none of those civilizations are standing today. And it's not because they were stupid. They're not standing through no fault of theirs, really. They're not standing simply because of one invention that they did not come up with, and that's gunpowder. That's all it is. Now, what happens if you're going to try to build something like Zamunda, but you just have to bring the mentally lazy along in the name of keeping it real? Because in all honesty, that's about as bad as bringing the Pookie. I mean, why would you be a Pookie if not for mental laziness? I don't want to learn. I don't want to think. I don't want to grab a skill. I don't want to do any of this stuff. I'd rather commit not only a crime, but I'd rather commit a violent crime with a real victim that's also black. Without thinking about any of this stuff, that's what I want to do. That's mental laziness. Because a little mental rigor could make them think, well, damn, if I'm going to commit a crime to get over right now, why don't I commit a crime that actually is not against my own interest? They would think that. Mental laziness is not knowing the flaws of other people. Mental laziness is hearing the flaws of other people and then saying, see, we can do it too. No, that's mental laziness. Mental rigor is when you know the flaws of other people and their strengths, and you say, now, I'm going to copy this strength, I'm going to throw out this weakness and avoid it. I'm going to put myself in a position to where I can afford it, I can get away with being whatever, but I got to get to that point first. You understand? You know what I mean at this point. Yeah, I don't want to go into a long sermon, but this mental laziness is our Achilles heel right now. I'm not saying there's no white supremacists waiting in the cut to come out and burn whatever we build. I'm saying they just don't have to do it right now because we got too many mentally lazy fathermuckers in our ranks and their champions and supporters that are telling us, well, so what if he can't do this, that? So what if he can't just, read at his own age level in his own first language? So what if he can't do that? We need to bring him with us. Well, he better have a skill that makes up for that. And he better be willing to admit I'm a dumbass when it comes to reading. Maybe not other things, but when it comes to reading, I suck. I need to work on that. Now, if he can admit that, okay, fine. No, he don't need to be, literate in a white man's language. Well, why don't you tell me that in Zulu, dumbass? The white man's language is so evil, and we can argue if it is or not. But if it's so bad, why is it that you have to tell me in their language where they took our languages from us? Okay, great. So since that's the language that we now have, their language, why don't we learn to use it properly? What's wrong with learning to write correctly with punctuation at your age-appropriate level for that language? You come against me on that point, you're mentally lazy. There's no other way to view it. You come in here and you say that I'm a snob about language, you're just mentally lazy. Because nobody's come in and disagreed with me about that point and correctly spelled their disagreement and punctuated it in the comments section. It ain't happened yet. And yes, if you come in and you want to disagree with me and you misspell and mispunctuate, I'm going to use that against you. Now, if you come in and you agree with me, I usually don't say anything about it if you misspell and mispunctuate. I just don't say anything. I'm telling you too, though, those of you that are my subscribers and you agree, okay, it's cool that we agree, but now if you also have that problem, get rid of it. Fix it. Don't let your enemy be able to be more convincing in a written form than you. Because history is written. And the ones who write and preserve the history determine what the next generation is going to know or believe, or both. Know and believe, actually. You want to be able to write your version of the events correctly so that educated people later can read them and understand them, and at least there will be two different accounts. You don't want just the one that's on the opposite side of the table from you in the debate being able to write down the history and record so that the future would glorify them more than what they deserve. You don't want that, but a lot of you left it open like that. As a matter of fact, Malcolm was mentally lazy when he was a crook, and he got caught too. Of course, he said, we ain't never gonna get caught. Malcolm was innocent in those days. We ain't never gonna get caught. That's what black folks say. The prisons were full of black folks that said, we ain't ever gonna get caught. Malcolm got caught when he reformed and went from, Detroit Red to Malcolm X. He went into that library and he did the first thing that was not mentally lazy. Okay, you don't need calculus, you don't need algebra, fine. Malcolm learned the basic literacy for his age level in his first language. And he became a hell of a writer and a speaker. Same with Frederick Douglass. Now, Frederick was taught to read and write at a young age, actually. So he had less catching up to do. But Frederick Douglass also did the same thing. He became a hell of a writer and an orator. These are things that are necessary. And the mentally lazy cannot help with that. The problem is that the mentally lazy can be easily convinced to do whatever's wrong and not going to help us, but they cannot be convinced to do whatever's right that we need. That's the problem I got with them. And that's the problem I got with people that are illiterate too. And when I say illiterate, I mean even just functionally illiterate for their age level in their first language. They also, the same thing happens. They cannot be convinced to do that which is right and that which is going to help us. God forbid. God forbid we build Black Wall Street, but the next generation is mentally lazy as a majority. No enemy from the outside would have to come in and do a damn thing. We rebuild Black Wall Street and the next generation is mentally lazy and Black Wall Street won't be there anymore. You understand what I'm getting at. Thanks for being patient while I preached my sermon, and thank you, Mr. Fantastic, for bringing that to my attention. Black heart, black mind, blackout, assalamu alaikum. And black heterosexual male power to the ones that are not mentally lazy, just because the mentally lazy, in the name of keeping it real, don't like it.